What if I told you that your life didn't end at 40? It was just waiting for you to finally show up. There comes a moment, quiet, uncomfortable, and deeply personal, when you look in the mirror and ask yourself a question that shakes your soul. Is this all there is? You've lived decades fulfilling roles, meeting expectations, carrying responsibilities like a silent warrior. You've been strong for everyone else, dependable for everyone else, present for everyone else. But somewhere in that journey, you disappeared. And now, standing at the edge of your own truth, you realize something terrifying yet powerful: your real life never actually started. But listen carefully, this is not a tragedy. This is a revelation. This is the moment most people never have the courage to face. Because it takes strength to admit that you've been surviving, not living. It takes honesty to accept that you've been walking a path that wasn't entirely yours. And it takes incredible courage to say, I am not done yet. Because the truth is, life doesn't come with an expiration date for dreams. It doesn't punish you for starting late. It rewards you for finally starting with intention. You are not behind. You are not too old. You are not too late. You are simply awakening. Awareness is not a crisis, it is a beginning. There is a strange kind of silence that enters your life when awareness finally arrives. Not the peaceful kind, but the kind that forces you to sit with yourself and confront everything you've been avoiding for years. It is heavy, uncomfortable, and brutally honest, because for the first time, you are not distracted by noise, responsibilities, or expectations. You are left alone with your truth, and that truth whispers something you cannot unhear: that you have been living a life that looks complete on the outside but feels empty within. And in that moment, it feels like everything is collapsing, like the ground beneath your identity is shaking, like you've lost time, you can never get back. But what you fail to see in that moment of pain is that nothing is ending. Something is finally beginning. Awareness does not come to destroy you. It comes to wake you up. It comes like a storm, not to break your foundation, but to show you where it was never strong enough to begin with. Because a life lived unconsciously may look stable, but it is fragile. It is built on compromises, suppressed dreams, and silent sacrifices. And when awareness enters, it shines a light on every corner you kept in darkness. It shows you the dreams you buried, the passions you ignored, the version of yourself you abandoned to fit into a life that was never fully yours. And yes, it hurts. It feels like grief, like mourning a life you could have lived. But this pain is not punishment. It is clarity. And clarity is power. Most people run away from this moment. They distract themselves again. They go back to routines. They convince themselves that it is too late to change. Because facing the truth requires courage that not everyone is willing to summon. But you are different. Because you stayed. Because you allowed yourself to feel the discomfort. Because you dared to ask the question that changes everything: what if I could still become who I was meant to be? And that question, that tiny spark of possibility, is the beginning of your rebirth. Because awareness is not the end of your old life. It is the doorway to your real one. So do not fear this awakening. Do not label it as a crisis. Do not see it as a sign that you are lost. Because the truth is, you were only lost when you were unaware. And now that you can see clearly, now that you can feel deeply, now that you can no longer lie to yourself, you are closer to your true path than ever before. This is not the moment you fall apart. This is the moment you finally begin to come together. Your past does not disqualify your future. There is a heavy weight that comes with looking back, a burden made of what ifs and if onlys. A silent regret that sits on your chest, reminding you of every opportunity you didn't take, every dream you postponed, every version of yourself you chose not to become. And at times it feels suffocating, like your past is a chain holding you back, convincing you that you are too late, too behind, too far gone to ever catch up. And you begin to believe that your story has already been written, that your chances have expired, that your time has passed you by without asking for permission. But what you call wasted time was never truly wasted. It was shaping you in ways you did not understand at the time. It was teaching you resilience through struggles, patience through delays, strength through sacrifices, and wisdom through every mistake you made. Because growth does not always look like progress. Sometimes it looks like survival. Sometimes it looks like enduring what you never thought you could endure. And the person you are today carries lessons that the younger version of you could never have imagined. You are not empty handed. You are equipped with experience that gives you an advantage, not a disadvantage. The world has conditioned you to believe that success belongs to the early starters, to those who figure it out quickly, to those who seem to have their lives together at a certain age. But life does not follow a universal timeline. It does not reward speed. It rewards authenticity. And there is something incredibly powerful about someone who starts later, but starts with clarity, with purpose, with intention, because you are no longer chasing what looks good. You are chasing what feels right. And that makes your journey deeper, stronger, and more meaningful. So release the guilt of your past. Stop carrying it as proof of your failure and start seeing it as evidence of your preparation. Because nothing you have been through disqualifies you from what is ahead. It has only been preparing you for it. And the moment you stop looking back with regret and start looking forward with determination, you will realize that your past did not close your doors. It built the strength you need to walk through new ones. It takes courage to rewrite your story. There is a quiet fear that creeps in when you even think about starting over. A fear that asks you who you think you are to change your life now. A fear that reminds you of your age, your responsibilities, your circumstances, and all the reasons why you should just stay where you are. Because staying feels safe. It feels familiar. It feels predictable, even if it is unfulfilling, even if it slowly drains your spirit. Because at least it is known, and the unknown, no matter how full of possibilities, feels terrifying. Rewriting your story means stepping into uncertainty. It means letting go of the identity you have carried for years, the roles you have played, the expectations you have met. It means risking judgment, risking failure, risking the possibility that things might not work out the way you hope. And that is not easy because you have spent so much of your life building stability, creating a sense of control, and now you are being asked to question it all, to challenge it, to step beyond it. And that requires a level of courage that cannot be taught, only chosen. People will not always understand your decision. They may question you, doubt you, even discourage you, because your courage will remind them of their own fears. Your change will challenge their comfort, and it is easier for them to keep you where you are than to watch you become something they were too afraid to become themselves. But this journey is not about their understanding. It is about your truth. And sometimes choosing yourself means standing alone. It means walking a path that no one else can see yet, trusting a vision that only you can feel. And in that courage, something powerful begins to happen. You start to reclaim pieces of yourself that you lost along the way. You begin to rediscover your voice, your desires, your dreams. And slowly, step by step, you start writing a new story. Not the one that was expected of you, but the one that is aligned with who you truly are. And it may not be perfect, it may not be easy, but it will be yours. And there is nothing more powerful than a life that is lived authentically. You deserve more than just existing. There is a difference between being alive and truly living, a difference that many people never stop to question, because on the surface, everything seems fine. The responsibilities are being fulfilled. The days are passing. The routine is stable. But deep inside, there is a quiet emptiness, a feeling that something is missing, something that cannot be explained but is constantly felt, like a part of you is waiting, like a part of you has been put on hold for far too long. You were never meant to live a life that feels like a checklist, where you wake up, do what is required, and go to sleep only to repeat the same cycle again. You were not created just to exist within the boundaries of obligation and expectation. There is a fire within you, a desire for meaning, for passion, for something that makes you feel alive in a way that goes beyond survival. And ignoring that desire does not make it disappear. It only makes the emptiness louder over time. The world may have taught you to settle, to be practical, to prioritize security over fulfillment, to choose what is safe over what is meaningful. But there comes a point where safety begins to feel like a cage, where comfort begins to feel like confinement, and you realize that a life without passion is not truly a life at all. It is just existence. And you deserve more than that. You deserve to wake up with purpose, to feel excitement, to chase something that matters to you, not just something that is expected of you. So give yourself permission to want more, to seek more, to become more, without guilt, without hesitation, without the need to justify it to anyone, because your life is not meant to be lived on autopilot. It is meant to be experienced fully, deeply, unapologetically. And the moment you stop settling for existence and start reaching for meaning, you begin to step into the life you were always meant to live. The best time to start was yesterday. The second best is now. There is a painful truth in realizing that time has passed, that there were moments you could have acted but didn't, chances you could have taken but hesitated, dreams you could have pursued but postponed. And it is easy to get stuck in that realization, to let it consume you, to feel like you have missed your window, like the opportunity has slipped through your fingers and can never be reclaimed. And in that space of regret, you become paralyzed, unable to move forward because you are too focused on what is already gone. But time does not stop for regret. It does not wait for you to feel ready. It does not rewind to give you another chance to start earlier. It keeps moving, whether you move with it or not. And every moment you spend looking back is a moment you are not using to create what comes next. Because the truth is, the only time you truly have is now. This present moment, this breath, this opportunity to choose differently, to act differently, to become differently, starting now, may not feel ideal. It may not feel perfect. You may wish you had more time, more energy, more certainty. But waiting for the perfect moment is what kept you stuck before. And if you continue to wait, you will find yourself in the same place years from now, asking the same questions, carrying the same regrets, because change does not come from waiting. It comes from deciding. It comes from taking that first step, even when you are unsure, even when you are afraid. So let go of the illusion of perfect timing. Stop negotiating with your fears. Stop delaying your own life. Because the moment you choose to begin, no matter how small the step, you break the cycle, you shift your direction, you reclaim your power, and you prove to yourself that it is not too late. It was never too late. It only required you to finally say, this is where I start. In the end, the truth is, life was never something that abandoned you. It was something waiting patiently for you to arrive, to wake up, to finally choose yourself after years of choosing everything else. And now that you stand here with awareness in your heart and truth in your hands, you are no longer the person who was drifting through life unconsciously. You are someone who sees, who feels, who understands that time may have passed, but possibility has not. And there is something incredibly powerful about beginning again with open eyes. Because this time, you are not living by accident. You are living by decision. You are no longer afraid of the truth because it has set you free. And even though the road ahead may feel uncertain, there is a quiet strength within you that knows you are finally walking in the right direction. So do not measure your life by when you started. Measure it by the courage it took to begin at all. Because there are people who will live their entire lives without ever reaching this moment of realization, without ever daring to question, to change, to become. And you are no longer one of them. You have crossed that invisible line between existing and truly living. And from this moment forward, every step you take, every choice you make, every dream you pursue carries a different energy. An energy of truth, of purpose, of awakening. Because your real life did not slip away. It did not disappear. It was simply waiting for the moment you were brave enough to finally step into it.